Well, twins Jonathan and Drew Scott make Home Sweet Home come true on their HGTV series Property Brothers, which I am addicted to, but I still can't.
For years, fans adored Drew Scott, one half of the famous Property Brothers. Yet whispers followed him, warnings that many refused to believe. His rise looked too perfect, his charm too smooth. We ignored every caution, blinded by the glitter of TV fame. But now, the very thing we refuse to see is catching up fast. Let's find out what it is. The disappointing return of Celebrity IOU. The 10th season of Celebrity IOU was meant to be a joyous occasion to celebrate its success of running for 10 seasons. The show, hosted by the Property Brothers, Drew and Jonathan Scott, focused on creating meaningful surprises, emotional bonds, and stunning renovations. It aimed to go beyond just remodeling kitchens and bathrooms, but to also make a positive impact by bringing happiness and lasting memories through home renovation. However, when the new season started with popular guest star Rachel Brosnahan, the initial excitement faded away. It became evident that what was supposed to be a significant moment seemed like an error. The first episode of the season was supposed to be exciting and captivating, but instead it highlighted how much the show has strayed from the charm that initially drew viewers in. What was supposed to be a heartfelt beginning to a new storyline ended up causing annoyance, disinterest, and resentment among loyal fans who were already disappointed with the network's previous choices. In June 2025, HGTV surprised viewers by ending some popular shows like Farmhouse Fixer, Married to Real Estate, Izzy Does It, and Bargain Block. Shortly after, another hit show, Battle on the Beach, was also canceled. These were not small shows with few viewers. They had a strong fan base who connected with the stories and families featured on the screen. When those TV shows were canceled, it upset people. They saw that the Property Brothers were on so many shows, which made them even more annoyed. Some viewers thought that Drew and Jonathan had too many shows compared to other hosts on HGTV. People were frustrated by this and felt that the canceled shows were more unique than the Property Brothers' repetitive series. This made them even more angry. Even new TV shows with fresh ideas were delayed unexpectedly. Chasing the West, originally set to debut on July 10th, was postponed to July 30th. Another series, Do Not Hate Your House, was also rescheduled for a later time. The shifts in the schedule seemed odd, boosting the popularity of Property Brothers while leaving other beloved shows unheard. When Season 10 of Celebrity IOU aired during a tumultuous time, it was not well received. Viewers who were already upset with HGTV were eager to see if the Scott brothers could bring something new to the table. However, the outcome only further disappointed them. I have always liked the work of Drew and Jonathan. Their style, humor, and talent in fixing up old houses have always impressed me. When Celebrity IOU started in 2020, it felt unique. Celebrities were helping out people who had influenced their lives. It was a combination of friendship, appreciation, and love in a home renovation show. At first, I was taken aback by the strong negative reaction towards them this year. Fans on the internet were very angry. They expressed their dissatisfaction with the brothers' shows, saying they had become dull, repetitive, and easy to predict. They also accused HGTV of showing them preferential treatment at the expense of other popular series. I was initially skeptical and did not want to accept it. I considered that fans might have been overly critical. However, as I watched the Season 10 premiere with Rachel Brosnahan, I tried to assess it more objectively. As the episode progressed, I had to acknowledge a difficult truth. The critics were correct. The first episode of Celebrity IOU followed the usual format, starting with a surprise visit from Drew and Jonathan to Rachel's friend's parents' house. Rachel stayed hidden outside, waiting to surprise everyone after the initial shock. We had all witnessed this situation before, which looked very similar to scenes from previous seasons. Something that used to be a pleasant surprise now seemed boring, like the producers were just going through the motions instead of capturing authentic moments. The show then transitioned to demolition. Rachel, who had no experience with tools, received a brief tutorial before being handed the saw and nail gun. The brothers encouraged her as she demolished walls, cut boards, and laughed during the chaos. However, the whole experience felt planned, artificial, and expected rather than enjoyable or thrilling. The show was using the same formula it had used for a long time, thinking that having a celebrity do physical work would be interesting. However, this strategy did not work this time. The show did not bring anything new to the table. The audience did not find it engaging. It seemed like the producers were taking the easy way out. They were hoping a famous person participating in the show would be a hit. Unfortunately, this approach fell flat. The show lacked innovation. It failed to captivate viewers. The reliance on celebrity appearances did not pay off this time. The show seemed stale and predictable. It wanted a fresh approach to keep audiences interested. The same old routine wasn't cutting it anymore. It was apparent that the show wanted a new direction. The formula they relied on was outdated. The audience wasn't impressed by the celebrity guest. The show's reliance on star power backfired. Fans were unimpressed with the repetitive format. It was clear that the show wanted a change. Another celebrity appearance wasn't enough to save the show from boredom. As the show went on, the Scott brothers started working on their designs. They chose cabinets, counters, and finishes. They also displayed paint samples and arranged mood boards. However, rather than generating interest or enthusiasm, these moments made the episode slower. There was no anticipation or excitement. The emotions of shock or surprise were absent. Even Rachel's charisma couldn't liven up the options. The scenes seemed dull, similar to rewatching a familiar TV episode. This was the first time I ever felt bored watching a Celebrity IOU episode. I even considered fast-forwarding, which I had never wanted to do before. I noticed that I did not care anymore about how the final reveal would turn out. It was a sad realization for me. At the end of the episode, when Rachel's friend's parents saw the newly renovated kitchen and dining room, their happiness was authentic. This feeling always rings true on the show. The gratitude, surprise, and tears shown are all real. Despite the genuine emotional moment, it couldn't make up for the dullness that preceded it. The 10th season premiere was supposed to be exciting, but instead it showed that the series has lost its energy. It did not feel like a joyful event, it felt like a sign of trouble. Fans were upset for a reason. It wasn't just about show cancellations or hosts having too many shows. The frustration came from Celebrity IOU on HGTV becoming boring and overly scripted. The Season 10 premiere incident has broader implications than just one episode. It highlights a larger issue with HGTV. The network appears to be too dependent on a formula that was successful in the past, but is now ineffective. By constantly featuring the Property Brothers and giving them multiple shows, HGTV is neglecting the variety that viewers desire. People who watch TV shows enjoy seeing originality. They like to see new concepts, different perspectives, and unique approaches to showcasing homes and families. They prefer not to feel like they are seeing the same story repeatedly, just with different famous people added in. When TV shows like Farmhouse Fixer and Married to Real Estate were taken off the air, it wasn't just the end of a show. It was the disappearance of something special, sincere, and lively. Swapping it out for more of the same old Property Brothers episodes seems like a wrong move that fans are not happy about. Having seen the debut episode, many are curious about what lies ahead for Celebrity IOU. Will it be able to find its spark again? Can it innovate and recapture the thrill of its earlier seasons? Or is it destined to become stale and lose viewership over time? The 10th season was supposed to be an opportunity for the show to evolve and look back on what made it unique, but it ended up feeling like a regression. Despite Rachel Brosnahan's talent and charisma, the episode couldn't overcome its lack of surprise. Having been a fan of this show in the past, it's difficult to acknowledge how different it has become. When the magic runs out. The unveiling of the new kitchen and dining room was expected to be a special moment. Rachel was excited to present a gift that would transform her friends' families' lives. When the doors opened and the family saw the renovations, they were overwhelmed with joy. The reveal lived up to the show's promises. However, watching from home, the excitement of the moment did not quite reach me. I saw something beautiful happening, but I did not feel connected to it. The family was truly happy, but I couldn't share in their excitement. I noticed that after watching 9 seasons of similar events, it no longer felt new. The emotions of laughter, surprise, and tears all seemed to be scripted from being repeated so many times, even though they were genuine for those experiencing them. It dawned on me for the first time what several fans of HGTV had been talking about. The charm of Celebrity IOU was diminishing. and the 10th season highlighted this even more. At first, each episode of the show was exciting. A famous person would come on to pay tribute to someone significant to them. The Property Brothers would then use their talents to transform regular homes into amazing spaces. The emotional stories behind the renovations always touched the audience. Families were shocked, tears flowed, and viewers were moved by the acts of kindness they saw. However, as time passed, the excitement began to lessen. The tales started to blend together, the responses seemed the same, and the sequence of each installment became indistinct. This recent disclosure was lovely, but it also had a sense of being routine. I could anticipate every instance before it occurred. I was aware that the family would shed tears. I knew the brothers would grin and acknowledge. I knew the celebrity would radiate satisfaction. And when everything transpired exactly as I had predicted, there was no excitement left for me. The Property Brothers, Drew and Jonathan, appeared to be going through the motions. Their excitement, which used to be genuine, now felt rehearsed. The format of the episode was so rigid that any celebrity could have replaced Rachel, and the result would have been the same. Instead of a special occasion, it felt like a cookie-cutter story produced routinely. If I had watched this episode earlier, I might have felt emotional. However, having watched 9 seasons already, it felt like I was watching a repeat of something familiar. Instead of exploring new ideas, HGTV decided to stick to the same old formula. Instead of showcasing fresh stories or innovative concepts, the network just gave the Property Brothers more shows with very similar themes. Initially, Celebrity IOU was a popular show, but after 10 seasons, it lost its charm. Rachel's likability couldn't save it from becoming stale. While she added a pleasant demeanor, the format of the show limited its appeal. The outcome became mundane, which takes away from the excitement. For fans who were disappointed by the cancellation of other shows, the ongoing of this one felt like a letdown. They were missing diversity and the show no longer offered any surprises. I questioned if it was a bad idea to continue the show for another season. Sometimes even the best concept can become tiring if it goes on for too long. Instead of ending the kindness, maybe there is a way to change how it is shown. Drew and Jonathan could try to bring a fresh approach to the show, find different ways to tell the stories, and create surprises that feel new again. It might be time for Celebrity IOU to gracefully end, being remembered for its positive impact rather than becoming boring. The show was unsure of what it wanted to be, but Drew Scott focused on a different issue outside of television. He spoke out on Instagram about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a budget plan going through Congress. He warned that energy costs would increase nationwide and families would struggle. The goal of the bill was to decrease the country's debt by changing how the government spends money. Rather than funding non-military programs and social issues, the focus would be on defense and tax policies to boost the economy. The White House outlined it as a plan to save about $1.7 trillion. However, within those savings were cuts that could impact many people. Medicaid and the Inflation Reduction Act, which are both important programs related to healthcare and clean energy, were in danger of losing federal funding. This could have serious consequences, such as millions of people losing their health insurance and a significant setback in the progress of clean energy on the nation's grid. Experts issued warnings about potential cuts that could undo years of progress. Families will notice changes in their monthly bills, with energy costs projected to rise by 7% by 2026 and nearly $300 more per year by 2035. This increase will also affect businesses, schools, and communities. What was once progress towards affordable and sustainable energy could result in higher costs and limited choices for everyone. Drew's message resonated with people because it went beyond just talking about statistics. It focused on the importance of having the freedom to live without being burdened by overwhelming bills. His cautionary words showed a level of empathy that was also evident in his work on Celebrity IOU. Whether he was helping families with housing or discussing broader issues like government policies, Drew consistently demonstrated a genuine care for everyday people. However, there was a noticeable difference between the two situations. Celebrity IOU seemed to struggle, getting stuck in repeating the same things and following a set pattern. In contrast, Drew took advantage of his influence to bring attention to important real-life issues with a sense of urgency. One side seemed worn out, while the other seemed energetic. This underscored an important reality that the show must acknowledge. Staying current and connected to the public's desires and concerns is what brings freshness. The new journey and the secrets behind their TV life. The Property Brothers, Drew and Jonathan Scott, have been popular on HGTV for over 10 years. Their likable personalities, witty conversations, and talent for making ordinary homes amazing have won them fans worldwide. Over the years, they have formed a close connection with viewers who see them as family. However, there have been some changes recently. Their new shows have been postponed, the network's programming is being rearranged, and some behind-the-scenes information has been revealed. This shift in their careers is a significant moment, leaving fans interested in learning more about what comes next. Drew and Jonathan Scott are no strangers to putting in a lot of effort. They are from Canada and got into TV in 2011 with their first HGTV show. Since then, they have become essential parts of the network, bringing shows that blend renovation, real estate, and some humor. Their franchise has expanded to include various spin-offs like Buying and Selling, Brother vs. Brother, and Property Brothers at Home. Each show has its unique style, but shares the same goal: assisting families in finding happiness in homes that they once couldn't have imagined loving. Now fans are gearing up for two new additions to the Property Brothers collection. The first one is Chasing the West, a series that draws inspiration from their childhood on a ranch. Drew and Jonathan aim to teach the values of open spaces, diligence, and living in harmony with nature. The other addition is the upcoming second season of Don't Hate Your House with the Property Brothers, showcasing the brothers' talent of turning unloved spaces into cherished homes. These shows offer exciting content for viewers, but then came a game-changing announcement. HGTV announced that they were making big changes to their TV schedule. Warner Bros. Discovery confirmed in a press release that the show Chasing the West would not air on its original premiere date of July. The new premiere date is now set for July 30, 2025 at 9 p.m. ET. The show Don't Hate Your House with the Property Brothers will also not be returning on the same date as planned. Instead, it will come out at a later unspecified time in the year. Fans were surprised by the announcement, especially since HGTV had already canceled several shows earlier in the year like Farmhouse Fixer, Married to Real Estate, Bargain Block, Izzy Does It, and Battle on the Beach. The delays in scheduling sparked conversations among viewers. People were curious if the changes had to do with decisions being made behind the scenes at the network. Some thought that maybe HGTV was reconsidering its content strategy, or that the shakeup was part of a larger reorganization. Regardless of the cause, fans were reassured that Drew and Jonathan were still around. They continued to appear on Celebrity IOU, which came back on July 9th with a touching renovation starring actress Rachel Brosnahan, famous for her role as Superman's love interest. The show's schedules were getting a lot of attention, but the brothers were also in the spotlight for a different reason. During an interview with Andy Cohen, the twins talked about a demand from the network that caught their attention. It wasn't about filming schedules, their choice of houses, or how they acted on set. Instead, it was about their looks, particularly their hair. Drew confessed to coloring his beard and hair often because the network wanted him to maintain a youthful appearance. Despite his gray hair starting to peek through, Drew said he refreshed his look every 3 weeks, especially before public events. He mentioned that after a trip to Europe, he realized his beard had become thick and gray, so he made sure to dye it before facing the media again. Jonathan shared that he experienced similar pressure. He admitted that his hair turned gray before his brothers, but he was advised to dye it. Unlike Drew, Jonathan was okay with his gray hair. He would have accepted it, but he believed the network wasn't prepared for it. The brothers joked about the issue during the interview, but there was a deeper truth behind the humor. It highlighted the unspoken guidelines that often influence life in the spotlight. The insight into their personal lives showed an important truth. Being on TV isn't all about talent or charm. It's also about keeping up an image that networks think viewers will like. The Property Brothers, who have been famous for over 14 years, had to maintain a younger look even as they aged. Fans see their genuine warmth and down-to-earth personalities, but don't realize the hidden pressures. Learning this added more complexity to their career story. Despite facing these pressures, Drew and Jonathan are still successful. Their strong bond as siblings gives them the strength to overcome any challenges they encounter. They work together to navigate the changes in television, meet the expectations of executives, and handle the constant scrutiny from the public. Throughout it all, they stay true to their original motivation, their love for constructing homes that make a difference in people's lives. Attempting to reach the West may have been delayed, but it will definitely have a strong personal connection. This journey means more to the brothers than just putting on a television show. It gives them an opportunity to share their childhood memories and beliefs with their viewers. The experiences they had growing up on a ranch greatly influenced their identity, and now they hope to impart those lessons to others. At the same time, the revival of Don't Hate Your House with the Property Brothers will bring back memories for fans of the happiness that comes from transforming a disliked home into a beloved space. Despite changes happening at HGTV, it is certain that Drew and Jonathan Scott will continue to be present. Their journey is ongoing, from their beginnings on TV to their recent endeavors, showcasing both talent and passion. While scheduling delays may have frustrated fans, they have also created excitement for the future. Their successful and unpredictable careers serve as a reminder that there are real challenges in the TV industry, despite its glamorous facade. Drew and Jonathan have shown their ability to adapt to changes in programming and meet the expectations of networks. The Property Brothers' journey back to their roots. Drew and Jonathan Scott, who are popularly known as the Property Brothers, have always been praised for their charisma, creativity, and knack for turning homes into dream spaces. However, before becoming HGTV stars, their journey started in a different setting. They were raised on a horse ranch, where they were surrounded by nature, hard work, and vast open skies. Their upbringing focused not only on teaching them how to build and design, but also on instilling in them values like responsibility, patience, and a connection to the land. Their childhood was a mix of hard work and beauty, shaping the individuals they are today. During their childhood, they grew up in the Pacific Northwest, a region known for its abundant forests and picturesque landscapes. Their family lived on a farm near the woods, where they had endless trees to play in. The forest served as their playground and also taught them valuable lessons in bravery and creativity. They could explore for days on horseback without reaching the end of the trees, immersing themselves in the beauty of nature. The sounds of birds and the peaceful atmosphere of the countryside became ingrained in them as much as the tools they would use in the future. As they got older, their family relocated to Alberta and established a ranch there.
Touring and doing stuff like David Copperfield. And after I was scammed and this person stole all my stuff, he essentially put me out of business.
The area's scenery, similar to Colorado and Montana, provided stunning sights of the Rocky Mountains and extensive open fields. Living on the ranch involved long hours of work, but also tranquil nights. Some of their favorite memories from their adolescence were spent around a campfire. Beneath the vast Alberta sky, adorned with shimmering stars, their father strummed his guitar while the boys listened in silence, letting the music blend with the evening air. These simple yet memorable moments are forever etched in their hearts. It's not shocking that after becoming famous on TV, Drew and Jonathan wanted to go back to their roots. This desire inspired their new show on HGTV, Chasing the West. This series is more than just a job to them. It's a way to honor where they came from. On the show, they help families looking to trade city life for ranch living. The brothers journey through stunning American landscapes, assisting families in finding the perfect piece of land that resonates with them. They travel from Texas to Arizona, and from Northern California to the sunny areas of Southern California. The properties they visit embody the wild essence of the American West, with rolling hills, expansive valleys, and large ranches setting the scene for both the family's aspirations and the brothers' reminiscence. In the first episode, there is one standout moment. Drew is in California looking at the beautiful scenery around him. The view reminds him of his childhood ranch. The ranch is more than just land to him, it represents his identity. Growing up on a ranch influenced him in a significant way, teaching him lasting values. As he gazes at the open land, he feels a longing to leave the city life behind and go back to the simplicity of ranch living. The question that naturally comes up is whether Drew and Jonathan will go back to that way of life after filming Chasing the West. For Jonathan, the answer is pretty clear. He confesses that the experience touched something deep within him, even though he and his fiancée Zooey Deschanel already enjoy living on a big piece of land with room to breathe. It doesn't compare to the vast ranches they grew up on. Growing up near the Rocky Mountains as kids created a connection with nature that he now misses. While walking the properties during filming, Jonathan felt that longing returned even stronger. The freedom, openness, and quiet of the land once again called out to him. Drew has been seriously considering the idea for a while now. He and his wife, Linda Fan, have started investigating the possibility. A few years ago, they started searching for properties outside of Los Angeles, wanting a more spacious lifestyle. Linda especially had big dreams. She wanted to own 100 acres of land to build a wellness center for people seeking peace and healing. They both imagined what it would be like to create something meaningful, not just for themselves but for the community. However, Drew is aware that living on a ranch comes with a lot of responsibilities. He frequently advises families on his shows to think carefully before making such a big decision, and he took his advice. Taking care of a large piece of land is a demanding job that requires constant upkeep and hard work. The couple decided that they weren't ready for it at the moment. They decided to postpone their dream, understanding that they might revisit it in the future when the timing is better. Pursuing the Western lifestyle lets the brothers experience the families they assist in a way that brings back memories for them. Seeing others embrace a life similar to theirs reminds them of the happiness of starting the day in nature, of laboring in the sun, and of finding solace under the night sky. It also illustrates the strong connection between land and personal identity. To Drew and Jonathan, ranch life is more than just owning land. It is about rediscovering their true selves. Each episode of the show is not only about the beautiful properties, but also about the emotional significance of dreams. The families looking for ranches are seeking more than just houses. They are searching for freedom, simplicity, and connection. As the brothers help them in their search, they also reconnect with these important values. The vast fields and mountain views serve as reminders of their childhood and the teachings from their parents. Chasing the West combines the personal history of two brothers with their family's aspirations in a touching way. The audience is not just watching the search for a new property, but also getting involved in a story about longing, belonging, and reconnecting with one's roots. This combination of nostalgia and exploration is what makes the show feel genuine and heartfelt. What do you think about the Property Brothers? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more celebrity gist. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.